Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Eid Mubarak, everyone. Happy Eid to everyone. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase all of you in your knowledge, in your good actions, and in preparation for the difficult times to come. Anyway, so today I have an interview with a Pakistani general, General Brigadier Akhtar Nawaz Janjua. He's a retired general in the military of Pakistan. The first 3 minutes are a little bit choppy. This is why I'm making this introduction. So if you want, you could skip the first 3 minutes or so, and then after that, the interview, alhamdulillah, goes smoothly. But I would recommend you listen to it from the beginning, because he's also a leader of an Islamic think tank, and there are very few Islamic think tanks. And so, inshallah, over here, let's start the interview. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala Sayyid al-Mursaleen Muhammadin al-Amin. Amma ba'd. I'm so happy, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, to have a very important person with us today who has great insight into what is happening in Pakistan, in India, in Kashmir, in Afghanistan, what's happening particularly with Taliban. We have General Brigadier Akhtar Nawaz with us. I hope I said your name right, inshallah.
Yeah.
And also you're also working with a very important think tank in Pakistan. So if you could just, in few words, tell us about yourself, because I think my audience should know who you are. And then I'll say from right now, this is going to be one video of mine that I would really hope that all of you would spread far and wide, inshallah. Okay, so if you can tell us about yourself, inshallah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanallah al-azim, subhanallah al-azim wa bihamdihi, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina wa Muhammad sayyid al-arwahi wa ali. Upfront, Umar, jazakallah khair, thank you very much for contacting me this far in Pakistan, early in the morning from your adopted country. Well, you have taken my name correctly. I am Akhtar Nawaz Janjua. I'm a student of history. I'm a military man, almost 5 decades, 4.5 decades completed, associated with my military life, a soldier inside out, and also a student of Islamic history and Islam, basically every day learning a few things from people like you and others, and trying to make myself into a good Muslim, a Muslim who loves everything created by the Khaliq-e-Kainat, and who wants to be a grateful human being for being a human being. That should suffice. Think tank you talked about is the Center for Global and Strategic Studies. I'm one of the founding members. It's a very active think tank in Pakistan, and we keep on holding the webinars on different subjects. And I also presented Pakistan in Shanghai Cooperation Organization 3 long consecutive years, that is 2017, 18, and 19, from the platform of my think tank. And I was supposed to go to Kyrgyzstan even this year on 28th of May, but due to this pandemic, probably that may not be held. So that is a small little introduction.
Okay, mashallah. So, General Saab, I don't know what are the right questions to ask first. So you can always take the conversation in the direction you feel is more important. So, but I'm going to start off by what does the future look like for Pakistan, for Afghanistan, for India? I know this is a big question that you can probably speak on for a very long time, but what do you think is important for Muslims all over the world should know about the current situation and where we are in history and where things are going?
So, Umar, let me tell you up front that Pakistan, if you go on to the actual ground realities, shouldn't have been around. We're sitting in an area which has a history of about, recorded history of 5,000 years. and it has been a bastion for the Buddhist. And Muslims in this area coming, whether coming from outside or embracing Islam here, were in minority then and are in minority now. So it could have happened actually. So it has happened with the blessings of Allah Kareem. That is my take. And it has a special role to play in the future till the day of resurrection. It will stay on. The responsibility lies with us, the Pakistanis, where we want to take it. Pakistan would stay. The land doesn't change. The human beings can change. It is here to stay, inshallah ta'ala. It will stay. I have to do my duty. I have to perform my duty. And if I do that, that means every Pakistani, the 22 billion people, then Pakistan has a future, and a very bright future, and a future which envisages that we are in the forefront amongst the Muslim world. We are in the forefront amongst the international community, and we have everything which a state should have. So there is no reason. The only thing is that there has to be a sincerity of purpose by the people who have been ruling. Probably they lacked that. They were more self-centric. And the new generation should now, I think, to take over and think about the state and take it as a trust from Allah Kareem. And if we take it as a trust from Allah Kareem, and it couldn't have been around without His blessings, then it becomes sort of a spiritual, moral duty to do good for Pakistan. Anything which we can do physically, which we can think or we can contribute. And if we do that, Pakistan has a bright future. As far as Afghanistan is concerned, you know it. Afghanistan has been in turmoil since centuries. It has been a passage of the invaders from different places coming towards India and other places. But they are people who are very brave, who are truthful, who have got integrity. And what they have seen in the last 40 years or so has been nothing short of catastrophe at the hands of the Soviet Union people first, and then the intervention by the international people, especially the US. So it has been reduced to rubble right now, but they have stood up to everything thrown on them. And now is the time. In one of my other interviews, I have said that they can gather themselves. And what can be the unifying factor? The unifying factor can be Islam.
Right.
If they follow the deen, if they consult and follow Allah and Rasul, I think the Afghanis can be a force to reckon with. And Pakistan and Afghanistan are brothers. You know, once they came in 79, they were shelterless, homeless. We in Pakistan, we opened our hearts, our homes and everything, our businesses. And just like the Ansar-e-Madina, we repeated that history. We repeated that history. They were the Muhajirin and we were the Ansar.
Yeah.
And we did that. And I hope that a time is coming when Pakistan and Afghanistan would be like brothers, sharing different platforms and having following each other's agenda very strongly. And I think it would take some time for Afghanistan to stabilize. If the leaders there are, and if the youth that is well read now, if they think and they make Islam and Deen and Allah and Prophet Sallallahu keep in the forefront, then there can be unity, there can be stability, and resultantly there can be progress in Afghanistan. As far as India is concerned, let me make it very clear. India is in a great problem. You see, this is a country which is divided by the extremely religious divide and racial divide, and they believe in that. Zat Path is one of their dogma. Within the Hindus, they, as far as Muslims are concerned, we are malish for them, we are impure for them, but they hate even the Hindus. And what is this Hindutva? If you read the history, it came into being this once Hitler was on the rise in Germany. The period coincides. Their ideals are the same. They are doing the same thing. And right now, the Muslims and the other minorities in India are on the run. They are running for their lives. And they are being killed here and there. They are being made forcibly to shout slogans, the Hindu slogans, the Shirkiya slogans. So I think they have a problem, and not only that they have a problem, they are going to be a problem for the world. And it is for the world to see now. The world has been keeping quiet, the political expediencies, what they have been doing in Kashmir, and what right now they are doing to Muslims and Christians and others in India. I think the world should take a notice of that and stop this. Otherwise, just like what happened in Second World War.
What has happened in the US with India, there's been a clash. So the religious institutions in America within the government, they have requested India for a meeting, the religious institute, I forget the exact terminology right now, but they've requested to go, not for Muslims, but for Christians, because they're hearing about the victimization that is taking place upon the Christians. And so the American Christians are concerned about that. And they have requested India to come and see the situation 3-4 times. They've been rejected. They were rejected, and they're making a big issue about this. But on the other hand, the economic policies of the US are America is looking for an alternative other than China. And it's being moved, the big companies are shifting from China to India. India is giving them the red carpet. It's, as China was becoming bigger and bigger, in the beginning things were cheaper, now things are a little bit more complicated, more expensive, especially with the tariffs that Trump is trying to put in for the imports from China. And so Trump is trying to move things towards India. So there's this clash between the Christians who see the injustice in India versus the economic benefits the others see. And so this is what we are seeing in the US is kind of like happening.
These are the, I think, compulsions of US that they have to somehow or the other counter this increasing influence of China in the world. And probably they are using as a front man, India as a front man, but they are actually looking other way around what India is doing to its people. People who are Christians, people who are Muslim, people who are Sikh, people who are Dalits, the Hindus. And what they are up to right now, I think the good-natured people of United States, people with conscience, should not only be concerned for the Christians, they should be concerned for the Muslims. They should be so concerned for the Dalits. And this is a short time here. You see, if you look back in the history, we create, for short term, we create those monsters and who actually then turn against us, and then we have to cull them. And the US is one which creates those monsters, actually. Now, let me make no bones about that. So political expediencies aside, let's face the reality. India is heading, is taking the world towards a disaster. You see, Pakistan cannot sit like this for a long time. Our government and our armed forces have shown great maturity for the last 2 years or so. You see that Abhinandan case and their incursion into Pakistan, and then we shot down their 2 aircrafts, and what they have done in Kashmir. But how long? How long? If the public opinion matters a lot, if the public is on the roads and it is demanding, and the history says, and now I am talking not as a Pakistani, as a Muslim, as a fighting machine, we have always been in a minority, starting from Badr down to till today, we have been a minority. But then the man on the field matters a lot. As I said in one I've introduced in the Badr, the opposing forces were the same material, the Quraysh, mostly. But what was the difference? So if they have something, Pakistan has something. Pakistan has acted very maturely, statesmanship-like policy by the government, and the army has shown a lot of restraint. What they did since 5th August 2019 in Kashmir, it is against the 11th resolution of United Nations. India went to United Nations in 1948-49. They promised plebiscite. They promised everything, and they are going back. And I think it is time for the world, for the United States and the United Nations to force India to actually abide by the UN resolutions. Otherwise, you can imagine it is not now the war of spears and swords, and it's a dangerous times we are living in, very dangerous times. Just one little pull of the trigger can turn the entire world into an inferno. I think we have to wake up to the realities. And yes, using India as a counter to China. But what if China becomes a friend to India in the next 2 years or so? Then what would be the policy of the United States? And then who has helped the United States in Afghanistan? That has to be seen. Pakistan actually has suffered a lot due to this, but still on every step we have stood with the world. And I'm talking the world, the United States. Whatever the UN resolutions, Pakistan has stood for that. It is time to pay back. It is time to reciprocate for the world, for Pakistan and for the Muslim world at large.
So, okay, so let's take this further. The wars of the future are not only going to be about oil. The wars of the future, according to some of the think tanks here in the US, are going to be over water. And Kashmir is where all the water comes into Pakistan from. The 5 rivers. I don't remember their names, but I know that there are 5 rivers. I think, the Indus River and the others.
Indus, Ravi, Chenab, Beas, Jhelum.
Yes. So they're all coming from Kashmir.
Yes.
So it's almost like it would be suicide for India to let go Kashmir from that perspective. And I think that, I know you're in the think tanks, but something really has to be thought about this situation in terms of water in Pakistan. So I don't know if you have something to say about that.
Omar, that is what I said, that Pakistan has behaved in a manner which is unprecedented in the last 2-3 years. So many provocations. Every day it is happening. Every day our young boys and girls are laying their lives. And we are not retaliating. We're not retaliating in kind. So the world has to take notice. But you see, there comes a time, I'm sure you understand a little about Iqbal. अच्छा है दिल के पास रहे पास बाने लेकिन कभी कभी इसे तन्हा भी छोड़ दो. A time comes once you have to decide, should I keep quiet now or let's do it. You see, let me go back 1400 years. What was the reason why Abu Sufyan had to change the route to Yanbu? Because Muslims thought that it was their things which they had left behind in Mecca and they were using for their business, and they were earning a lot of money. So Kashmir, I don't say that give it to Pakistan. No Pakistani says. We say give the right of self-determination to Kashmiris. Let them decide their future. Whatever they want to do, let them do it so that we can live peacefully as neighboring countries. That is the only point of contention. But you cannot do it that you keep on forcing your agenda, you keep on forcing your viewpoints and expect others to exercise restraint. That is the issue here. And I think more than anybody else, US and United Nations combined have to take notice of this thing. This is my viewpoint.
So the world is becoming more and more conservative. In a sense, you have Modi in India, you have Netanyahu in Israel, you have Trump in America, you got now Boris Johnson there in England, right? So it's like they are moving towards the right. The world is going towards the right. And it seems like after a long period of secularism and no religion, people are sociologically being pushed into religion for various reasons. So Hindus are becoming it's not just Islamic fundamentalism as they would like to say, but Hindus are becoming more Hindu fundamentalists, and Jews are becoming more Jewish fundamentalists. Christians are becoming more Christian fundamentalists as a sociological reality in the world. And I wonder if there's going to be a renaissance of some sort of Roman Catholicism also in Europe. They are working very hard for that. But the point I'm trying to make here is that what should the Muslims of India, the individuals, the people that are being victimized, what should they do? I know we talked about this on the phone, but I'd really like you to bring up that point. I once said on one of my YouTube videos that why not just the Muslims of India run for an independent state also? But I liked what you said because it came directly from Quran. So if you can shed light on your solution to what Muslims in India should do.
So, thank you very much. But on the lighter side, just a lighter side, usually this is a pandemic, COVID-19 or the coronavirus. So I think this is also sort of pandemic that the world has leaders who do not mind telling lies, do not mind killing the people, who do not mind going for their self-interest, for their businesses. And I think this can also be called a pandemic. So that there are so many leaders who are self-centered. They are only concerned about their longevity. They just want to stay in power by hook or crook. They can go to any length for consolidating their power and their chairs. So this is also sort of pandemic. I talked to you that just see the leadership, and you've talked about like that. About the Indian Muslims, now from Quranic point of view, I would say that you see when Allah talks about the hijrah, the migration from Makkah to Medina, so He lays down three different categories. People who migrated, they are the blessed ones. People who could not due to the resource constraint, well, they are also blessed ones. But then people who could migrate and they did not, their case is little dicey. And it would be decided on the day of destruction or thereafter at the point. Same is the case with the Indian people. I think you have given a wonderful point. I think this is a tremendous idea. They are more than 200 millions in India. And there can be 2-3 more states of Muslims.
Yes.
I think this is a wonderful idea.
The Sikh had a movement at one time. I forget what it's called. It was Khalistan
movement. It is still around. It is still out.
So I mean, if when the British were in the U.S. and the thinkers, especially the landlords in America, they were thinking about, okay, what should we do about the British? They're taxing us too much, right? So they had the Boston Tea Party, and they had other. So the preamble that they wrote, was so fabulous because you don't leave a country for some small reason, right? It's a very big decision that we're going to rebel against the British Empire in this case. It's a very big decision. But they said, if there has been a train of atrocities and tyranny, one after the other, after the other, after the other, then what choice do we have but to fight the British, right? And the main atrocity that was happening to the Americans was basically being taxed. Britain was losing in India, and they were losing that money that they had already stolen, most of it. But then they were taxing here in this land, the West, Americas, and so then they stood up and they fought. And so I think that the Muslims in India have to decide up till when, how long will they take this, and what are they going to do? Are they going to, they have, but the problem is this. I heard directly from the president of the largest. It's called the MSO, Muslim Student Organization in India. I have his contact, I have his information, I have his interview, which I'll be releasing, inshallah, in a few days too. He directly told me most of the madaris, most of the ulama in India will not speak against the government because that's where they get their fundings from.
Okay, that is a tragedy. Actually, that tragedy happened back in the 30s, once the demand for Pakistan was on the rise. And there was a group of ulamas which opposed Pakistan tooth and nail, and actually, in fact, shared the stage with the Hindu leaders, the Congress leaders. But that was one time. They made an option, and I think they are suffering. They are suffering. They have to actually forego the basic tenets of Islam. Their daughters are marrying the Hindus. There are so many things I don't want to get into. I don't want to hurt their sensitivities. But this is the time to stand up and I think step up and be counted for the leadership, for the ulamas across the board. It is not basically this. Let me go back to history. You talked about rulers, and I was remembering one ruler of the Muslim history. You see, what happened with Islam is a tragedy. The message was so fascinating. The messenger had such a charisma, such blessing of Allah, that it spread. It spread. Anybody who came across was overawed by Islam, except those who, Khatamallah wala qulubihim wala absarihim, the Abu Jahls and Abu Lahabs, everyone. It spread it. But Allah and Prophet, look at his companions, all stars. You see, once you were talking about Trump and Netanyahu and Modi and Boris Johnson and others, and you did not intentionally mention the Muslim world leaders. I was thinking about the Umar bin Khattab.
Yes.
He was lying on the deathbed. So the companions, the other companions, they came and they said, okay, your son, Abdullah, he was liked by Prophet Sallallahu.
Yes.
He's the Katib-e-Wahi.
Yes.
Appoint him caliph after you. He said, what did he say? He said, the man who could not divorce his wife correctly, you want me to hand over Ummah to him?
Yeah.
And then they said, you're about to go, just as a way out. He said, out of the 10 Ashra Mubashira, Abu Ubaidah ibn Jarrah has gone, Abu Bakr Siddiq has gone, I am going, 7 are left. Pick one out of them. So they brought the 7. And what did he do? On the deathbed, he said, strike out the name of Saeed, who was his brother-in-law. And those famous words, he said, if it is a blessing, why only my family? If it is a test, a trial, then why only my family? Where are those rulers, selfless? That is the example. And that is why Islam spread. The decay started once self became more important than the deen and the injections of deen.
You were talking about how Pakistan was made in a miraculous way, and I want to present to you something that is an interesting contrast, maybe for you to reflect upon with me, and that is that Jews and Christians consider Israel to be a miracle too, because there was no chances of it. It got formed. Then they had the 6-day war, in which all the Arab countries were fighting against them. And they came out of this, and majority of the rabbis up till the 6-day war were against Israel, up till that time. But after the 6-day war happened, then the rabbis also said, well, this must be from God. And they said, well, then we have to go to Israel. So the point I'm trying to make is, so you have Pakistan, which was definitely created out of a miraculous nature. And the way I would put it is all the ulama, majority of the ulama were saying no Pakistan. But somehow the public, despite being close to the ulama and all of that, Pakistan came into existence. And it's the only country that has nuclear weapons and so on and so forth. But and it was made in the 27th of Ramadan and, so many other things like that. The point I'm trying to make is, so Pakistan was made out of very little probability or very little chance, and it came into existence. And Israel also, very little probability, and it came into existence. But why was it that the Muslims somehow couldn't become selfless in such a big purpose? And Allah says, He makes the cure and with the disease, meaning they go hand in hand. The shifa. And so 1947 is Pakistan, 1948 is Israel. So there is that symmetry in a sense.
Okay, wonderful analogy. I'll just take this on from here. You see, once we were talking on phone, I said something. Allah is Allahu Samad. He cannot take sides with his creations. He has specified a way, a road map he has given. All those who follow that road map, they find the flaw. And I also said in one of my interviews earlier on, that to get all that help from Allah, actually to make the Fazaya Badr, you have to go to Badr with all what you have, 13 people, just 2 horses, 9 swords, 70 camels, barefooted. Empty stomach, you have to go there. So what happened to the Muslim world was that we have a lot of money. We do not know how to operate those machines. We do not know the war machines. We think, especially those people who are fighting, they have an idea, a wrong notion that they can buy everything. You can buy the weapon, but You cannot buy the fighter.
Hmm.
The fighter you have to lay down your own life. You have to put your life at stake. And probably they did not do that.
Hmm.
So it is a rust of about 600 years. 1590, Spain fell. And thereafter, we stopped studying, we stopped inferring, we stopped carrying out the analysis. We are into sectarianism, we are divided, we are killing each other. Allah says, if you kill a Muslim intentionally, you have no respite from me.
Absolutely.
You see, he also says, Surah Nisa, I think last, he says, why should I punish you if you are grateful? And how can I be a grateful being? I can be a grateful being if I do all the awamirs and I desist from nawahis. I am a grateful person, and then all the falah would come to me. So this may continue for centuries more. If there's already not the qiyamah, the day comes, the saat. Otherwise, you see, it is not Israel. Israel was planted. It was plucked by someone. The people you have talked about, they fixed that. So they came from Russia, they came from Europe, they came from everywhere, even from Pakistan, these families shifted. So basically, the incompetence of the Muslim world, the ingratefulness of the Muslim world cannot be compared with the creation of Pakistan. We are the grateful people. And still, there were a lot of midgets who donned the chair in Pakistan. And it's a miracle that we're still thriving, alhamdulillah. It's a miracle, Allah's miracle.
What can we do about, and how important do you think this is? We have Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Qaid-e-Azam, who established Pakistan. But the vision of Pakistan, the ideology of Pakistan, the concept of Pakistan came from Dr. Muhammad Iqbal. That would mean to have a life for Pakistan, that ideology, that view needs to be, I don't know, I would say, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's almost dying now. And Iqbal's thought, his poetry, his writings, his students. I know you talked about Muhammad Asad being one of his students. That needs to be revived. And you know, is somebody in Pakistan focusing on Iqbal and Iqbal studies? And so please.
So let me just from a different platform, let me talk about this. This ideology is not new. Iqbal didn't give it.
Okay.
Iqbal who said, you're sitting at a very dangerous place, and it may be dangerous for you, but I am going straight away to Quran. That is the ideology. So he gives the ideology. Those who believe, who submit and do right things, they are one. Those who do not, they are on the other side of the fence. So the day Allah said, prostrate before Adam, and he said no, he carried the flag, other flag. You see, there were two conferences in the invisible world, and everybody there agreed. Alastu bi rabbikum, and then the second one of the chosen ones, everybody agreed. So this ideology is not new. Those who believe in one God, they are one. A different number of countries. Bangladesh is a Muslim country, and as we talk, there can be 2-3 more Muslim countries within the India. Still, Islam would remain the unifying factor between us. We talk about the Khilafat. What is Khilafat? Muslims of North Africa, and I salute them. They changed their language, they changed their dress, they changed their customs. They became Arabs, and they are till date Arabs. They were not Arabs. The fault lies with us, the Muslim, this side of the fence. The Persia and Muslims here. We have forgotten about Arabic. We have forgotten about those customs. So what was Khilafah? Khilafah was one state, and it may engulf the entire world one day, as per our belief. Mahdi and Jesus coming together. So this identity cannot die. If I go against it, I am actually getting indicted myself. I am getting an FIR registered against myself. The ideology would stay. It is there to stay because it was given by Allah. How can we be, he says, how can be the blind and those who can see, they can be equal? It is straight from Quran, I am talking about Quran. So this ideology is ingrained there. Those who believe in Allah and do what He has ordained are one. And those who do not, who believe the other side of the fence, they are with Him. The one who said, no, I don't want to. because I am made of fire and he is made of clay, and how can I prostrate before him?
Right.
So this challenge is not going to die. As far as Allama Iqbal is concerned, yes, he gave this idea as you today gave this idea to the Indian Muslims. So you are Allama Iqbal for them. They should take note of this thing.
And you with me. We're together on this.
And you see, Allama, once he saw, Qaid-e-Azam was once in Congress. He was secretary to Dadabhai Nauroji. He was a great ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity. He proffered those 14 nukats, everything. And then he got frustrated. He left for England. He came back. There's another story, a spiritual story. One day we will talk about that also, how he came back. But you see, Allama, once he said, मेरे अरब को आती थी ठंडी हवा जहां से मेरा वतन कोई है, मेरा वतन कोई है. So he talked about Hindustan, but once he saw this, what is happening today, it was happening even then. Once he saw this hate,
that's very interesting. Very interesting point.
To send the people, to cull the people, to cull the religions, to send them abroad. So he gave this idea, and then Allah chose this man. You see, you talked about Qaid-e-Azam. And I think this is a very informal interview. In 1946, his doctor had pronounced him dead. And doctor was a Hindu doctor. You see, read that book. It has been written by two Americans, The Freedom at Midnight. And they said this man was ice cold man, but the only indiscretion he ever committed was on that day, once his doctor told him, you have no lungs in your chest. I pronounce you dead. He got a word from him, do not tell it to anyone. So he drove to the Viceroy's house and he said, get me my Pakistan, else I get your India destroyed. And that is the only indiscretion on the record of that great man. Later on, Mountbatten, in his memoirs, he wrote, had I known that verdict of the doctor, Pakistan would not have been there. So it is the motivation, it is the will to do, it is the sincerity of purpose and upfront faith in Allah and Ittaba' Rasul, and then you can go. This life is very temporary. But remember, if you falter, then there are consequences even at the battleground of Uhud. If you disobey, then you suffer. And that is what the Sixth Day War or the war you are talking about, and the misery which has been brought to the Muslim world. It is our own deeds, nothing to do with Islam, nothing to do with Allah, nothing to do with Prophet ﷺ, nothing to do with the truth which is there in Quran and Kalam Allah. The fault lies with us. We have gone astray. And if we come back to Sirat-e-Mustaqim, the flaw is ours. And we can make this entire world of Riyasat-e-Madina.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
I'm going to stop here because the recording goes to 40 minutes. Actually, what happened is we have an upgraded version that should not stop at 40 minutes, but it's telling me it's going to stop at 40 minutes. I don't know why. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this, download it, and then we can continue today.
We can have this as install number 1, and then we can get together again and then install number 2 and 3, 4, 5.
We can do that, inshallah, if you're okay with that.
I am okay with that.
I really am enjoying this. And, you know, I would hate to break it and then start over because we're going on a roll.
It's a player. To talk about Pakistan, it is in my heart. And I think I keep on saying this on different stages. On the day of destruction, once I produce before Allah Kareem, there would be a question that I gave you a land in Darul Kufr. What did you do for that? Yes. How did you lynch it? How did you eat it? So I am responsible for that. You talk about Pakistan, I can talk for us. You can talk about Islam, I can talk for life. Because I believe that is the truth. I harbor no hatred against any religion, against any race. My deen is deen of peace. My Rasul says, my Quran says, there in the eyes of Allah is that who has got more taqwa. So
I would dare say that when the partition was taking place, we had two great ulama. We had Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanvi, who was for Pakistan.
Yes.
And Maulana Hassan Madni, rahmatullahi alayhi, who was against Pakistan. I think it is about time now that we take a look at that, and the ulama of India need to wake up.
But Umar, let me make it clear here. Ulama had two. There were ulamas who were for Pakistan. There were ulamas who were against Pakistan. There was one entity which was for Pakistan, and most of them have stayed back in India. And those were the Sufi saints. They were for Pakistan. The interesting point, we will discuss this.
Okay, yeah, I would definitely like to get into that because I don't know much about that. But I think the point I was making was the ulama of Dar Nadwa in India, Dar Ulum in India, they need to reassess.
Yes.
Now we are at a place in history where they need to reassess, because if they don't reassess at this point, it can have very devastating consequences.
Yes, and more than Darul Nadwa, the ulama Deoband have to reassess what they did in 1947 and what they must do right now.
Yes, because the Muslim voice in India is very divided right now. It's been divided for a long time, but it's even more divided now. You believe it or not, there are Muslims that actually take side of Modi in India.
Yes.
You know, and so and all of it has to do with money. All of it has to do with money.
So you use the word Renaissance. I think this is required there as well. And this is required in the entire Muslim world to go back to the real teaching of Islam, to be Muslims in letter and spirit, and to forget about the worldly things, to think about the spiritual things. You see, this is a platform which carries the Amre Ilahi, the Ruh. We shouldn't be no more concerned for the Ruh. Next meeting, we discuss all this. It's been wonderful interacting with you. And I would like to have this regarding for me, for my friends back home, for my kids.
Yes, inshallah. It was a great pleasure and a blessing from Allah.
And happy to you and Muslims world over and Muslim in the United States.
Yeah, and Eid Mubarak to you, your family, and you know everybody in Pakistan.
And to everyone there. Thank you. Very kind.
So much.
Very kind.
Make sure to subscribe today and make sure you like and make sure you leave your comments and ideas. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا